Nick Kenny, nice to see you again. How you doing? Thank you very much for joining me today.
Hi Josh, not doing too bad, thank you. Back from the UK Open. Looking forward to speaking to you.
Yeah, we'll get on to mine Eds in a second, but first of all, signed with Red Dragon, nice little 3-year deal. Really good progression for yourself to get them on board with you.
Yes, yeah, I'm super happy with the contract they've given me, and coming on board Red Dragon. Everyone knows I'm Welsh, I'm passionate Welshman. Used to be the Welsh captain, and that's the perfect brand for me to represent and be sponsored by. Hopefully, a long term sort of relationship, and we do good things together.
And possibly a little bit of a reward for all the hard work that you've put in over the last couple of years or so. The results are really starting to flow over the last maybe 3 or 4 months, and I guess good things come to those who wait, and you've got the good things coming now.
Yeah, I've waited a long time for it, but after when the champions of champions, I went down there for some photos, and Simon sort of promised me a sort of a progressive like contract and something to work for, and I think that really sort of was solidified then when I beat Barney at the Worlds and got my tour card back. So yeah, very grateful for Red Dragon. They got a great team. It's expanding all the time, and obviously they're linked to brands such as Winmau and Nodor as well down in Bridgend, which is only just down the road, 20 minutes down the road from where I'm living right now. So it's brilliant, and they're already on to setting up and creating some new darts for me.
Brilliant. We look forward to seeing them. Really positive start to the year for yourself, especially on those pro tours, two last 16s and a semi-final. Does this feel like positions that you should be in and you're getting closer to securing that PDC title?
Yeah, obviously my aim is to sort of keep myself on the tour every year, but the darts I've thrown, especially last week in Holland on sort of day two, or the back-to-back 100, I think it was 104 and 112, following the semi-final, which was obviously a confidence boost. And sort of the form I've been in, the players I've been beating, I've not surprised myself, but I'm just showing everybody and myself now that what I can do on the practice board, I can do consistently over them best of 11s. And obviously, the more consistent I get, the more sort of breakthroughs I'm going to have in the future. So, yeah, well happy. Obviously, once I secured my tour card, I sort of knew I'd have another 2 years because excuse me, I wasn't defending so much. And in 4 weeks, I've defended everything, and I've won 16,000 already. And I only won 13,000 in 2023, so it's an absolute epic start for me, and it doesn't stop there. Hopefully, I continue the good vein of form, and kick on and have another great year.
Yeah. When a player of sort of any really standard, they get their tour card, the first thought is in 2 years, I want to be in the top 64 and retaining that. Was doing that a bit of a weight off the shoulders for you, and you've done that now, that's out of the way, you can go and really push on and show the darts that you can throw.
Yeah, exactly, Josh. Obviously, I was a little bit lucky in the end because Steve Beaton retired and it pushed me up to 64th. But maybe I haven't had that little bit of luck. In the last time I had a tour card, and I needed to win 2 games and at Ali Pali after being really poor on the floor and running into Roby, who had the best average in round one. Then this year, I just had that different feeling. I knew what I had to do. It was a nice little draw, a little bit of motivation by certain things that were said, in the media, and I owned it really. All the experiences finally come together, and I didn't play epic on the Ali Pali stage. Don't get me wrong, I didn't like the World Up, but did what I had to do in terms of getting my tour card back, and thought I was comfortable up there. I thought people said I looked comfortable. I was sort of in charge. I had a bit of a presence up there, so that's good feedback. My end. So yeah, just move forward and hope to get back there again, and try and get to the same stage or better next time.
There are so many stories throughout the world, but I think that story between yourself and Barney was one that just sticks in the mind for me when we're sitting there. It's just a, a crazy one that kind of came out of nowhere. Does it feel like that for you, or?
Yeah, I'm an historian of darts. I like watch certain interviews with different people, and I've everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but it's sort of I was like, oh, what a draw really, drawing one of top five people to ever throw a dart. He's a five-time world champion, and get on great on the floor. We still get on great now. And I just watched his interview one day coming back from a game of darts, and I thought, he's not even thought about the chance of playing Bunce or myself. He's already sort of thinking about playing Humphreys, and that sort of gave me that little bit of motivation I needed, I suppose. Um, and I hate it, but I wish that I didn't care what people think. I shouldn't, but sometimes little things niggle at me, and it just gets in my head a little bit. But it helped me on that occasion. I should be one of them who just haven't got a brain when I'm playing darts and just forget about everything and they just let the darts do the talking. But I am a little bit of a thinker, and that's just part of my identity, I suppose.
Have you spoken to him like since that? Is everything all good now?
Yeah, it was fine on the day, to be honest. He did pull me because I mentioned it after the first game. I said, "Oh, he's obviously already thinking about Humphreys," but he came up. He said, "Can I have a word?" And I said, "Well, you did say it because it's there in the interview with Phil Bart." And he said, "Oh, I can't remember." I said, "Well, yeah, you may have done a lot of interviews and you're busy. You said it. I got it there." And I said, "I don't really know what else to say." And he just walked away. And when I beat him, then he just wished me the best for the rest of the tournament. We've been okay on the floor, and I've played him since. And I beat him 6-0 the other week. And he was very grateful, gracious in defeat again. He played well himself, and he was nice last week after I got with semi final. Nicky boy, well done yesterday, semi final. He said so. I get on well with him. It wasn't something I'm going to fall out over it, but it was just like he's already thinking ahead, and it gives me a little bit of a kick up the ass, a bit of motivation, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Bringing it back to the weekend and the UK Open, probably not what you would have wanted from that tournament, but one of your local tournaments as well, I guess, close-ish to
Yeah.
South Wales. Came up against Jan van Veen, and Jan's been playing really well lately, and maybe you weren't able to quite produce the game you would have hoped.
No, the aim was to obviously win that first game and then see what the draw was like. And it was, at the end of the day, it was a really tough draw. It could have been harder with one of them top 10, but Gian got the quarters in the end. He justified, that why he's sort of on the charge after 2 years. He's 25th in the world. He's absolutely unbelievable. He had 8 180s and the 98 average. My two games were around 88. My doubles really good in the first game. Had a couple of chances in the second, maybe to get a 7-5 against Gian, but once he got 8-4 and I think it was one dar hero there, he kicked on again. He thoroughly deserved to beat me. I didn't perform. The scoring wasn't there for me on Friday, and it's just one of them days. I was grateful to win the first game. The guy missed a few doubles, and I sort of clocked straight out. So I was a little bit lucky to get through the first one. But it is a long day. It is. You're up for the first game. You come down. Do you stay in the venue? Do you go back to your digs? I wasn't staying in Butlin, so it was like, do we trek back up to the town and then come back down, watch the draw? So it's one of them. Maybe next time we'll stay in Butlin and just scoot back and have a bit of food instead of, it's a bit of a walk up into the town. By the time you get back up and the draw's done, so to speak, you're on your way back down. So, it's a learning curve. Longer format, and it wasn't a disaster, so to speak. I wasn't. It was a decent performance, but it just wasn't good enough to beat Giaz.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier about sort of confidence on stage and people saying you look like you have a bit of stage presence at the World Championships. How much of a difference does that make when you're in those big games, whether it be at Ali Pali or it be in a competition like a UK Open?
Massive, really, because I know there's some players on the tour hate playing on stage, and the fact that I've played county for since I was 15, and I've been on the WDF, PDO, and I've been in the big finals on them sort of circuits. It is a difference when you're up on the stage, and I always say my best game is on stage, but that's proven a bit hard at the moment. Obviously, with a lot of it being on the floor in the PDC, and only the European Tour or the majors are on TV. But I have that experience in the back of me, and so I continue to play county. Um, but yeah, I like to think as long as my preparation is correct, and I'm happy with my darts and everything goes good. I know I can beat anybody, so I got to just I think some of the commentators said is just keep my emotions in check. I'm just keep myself hydrated, I suppose. Don't burst so much energy celebrating because I'm a big lad and things like that. Just keep it cool, and you can always jump around the stage when you win, like I did. I wouldn't. I don't want to be jumping around with, try and keep yourself a bit cool. A little fist bump here or there is not too bad, but you just got to go for the motions and get over the line before you do anything. Because darts, it's never over until it's over. There's no defense, is there? So yeah, so it's going all right though.
Yeah. You mentioned the European tour. Obviously, that's changed quite a bit this year. That's going to make it harder for those guys outside the top 32. Obviously, in that position yourself, it's going to be quite difficult to make six, well, even half of the European tours this year. How much is that going to affect you for one, and I guess the players that are in a similar position to you?
Well, to get into that top 32, it's going to have a big impact. But I think in terms of my goals this year is to obviously get to the players' finals in the Worlds, qualify for as many European tours as possible, and then obviously going from there, you want to if you can qualify for three or four, then you start thinking about maybe the European finals. But if you think about the way they've done it, in the top 16 are seeded to play on the Saturday, or the second round.
Yeah.
It's not always a Saturday, it's the Easter weekend, it's a Sunday. But that I think the way they're doing the draw now is then top 16 outside of the top 16 who are automatically there, they will draw one of the qualifiers.
Hmm.
So it's going to take one of the qualifiers, a really good game to sort of break through. They'd have to beat two top 32 people to get a full grand on that rankings. So I think the main thing for us outside of that top 32, the damage to be done is on the Pro Tour. And if I could continue to do that sort of damage that I've done so far, and no, fingers crossed it does keep going that way, so 11,000 so far, I wasn't even nowhere near the match play. I'm only 9 grand off it already, over what I did on the back end of last year. You win, then you got 15 grand. So the aim is to sort of win a pro tour and just keep getting through your boards and keep chipping away into the money, and that will sort of, I think that's the main thing for the boys, below sort of 40 in the world to get them to get up the rankings, and then the more you go up the Pro Tour rankings, you can automatically qualify for the European tours because you might be in that best 16 outside of the top 16, like some of them are at the moment. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to have such an impact it's for everyone trying to get in the top 32. It's sort of it's impossible, but it's not. But for my own goals this year, I'm not. See, I'd love to be in the top 32. My goals are now to sort of get into the top 50, and get into them major, the two majors, the big majors at the end, potentially chip away at trying to get the Grand Slam or whatever, maybe qualify or whatever. But that's different. That does help certain players. They do get in it. It does boost them up. But the main ones are the players in the world. So, but in terms of European, for to get into the top 32 in the world is very hard. But for the impact it's going to have, unless your qualifiers are really doing damage, and you've got to beat two top 32 players in a row, you're going to have to be playing some darts. You probably deserve to be in the top 32 and have to do that regular to even have any dent in the rankings, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really appreciate the time today, Nick. And best of luck for everything you've got coming up.
No problem, Josh. Take care. All the best. Enjoyed speaking to you.